the dot-com era, if we go back just a smidge, really derailed a lot of people in their careers. And let me just explain it as to why that is. A lot of people came out of college, a lot of people were made huge promises, a lot of people were given enormously large titles, they were given potential stock options, they were given nice salaries, probably at inflated numbers, and then they all lost their jobs. But the problem is when you have that first or second job, it really sets a foundation for the future. So I think there's a lot of people that I know, that I counsel, that I mentor, who are kind of lost because they're like, okay, I came out of college making $75,000. 3 years later, 5 years later, now I'm making 42. So I think that you're right. This generation is going to be very, very tough to communicate to because they think that just because they understand technology that they're going to be successful. Just because they're smart means they're going to be successful. And the reality is that too many people make the mistake that intelligence equals success. It actually doesn't. How many people do we know that are underachievers? How many people do we know that, well, you're the smartest person in your room, but unfortunately you can't communicate, you can't negotiate, you can't deliver, you can't get anything done, and that's the problem. And that's what we've got to guard against in terms of this generation. I think that patience is something that you guys should train them on. I think you should train them on immediacy, and what I mean by, America's all about immediate gratification right now, and I think you guys, I applaud you for what you guys are doing, but I think you can train them on patience. I think you can, immediate gratification doesn't always have to happen. It doesn't have to happen in 10 minutes, in 6 months. The reality is, I think you can mentor, be there and mentor people. Does that mean you're going to be able to connect with everybody? No, you're not. Let me read you, this morning when I came in, I had hundreds of emails. Let me read you an email of somebody. I won't read you the name. This is a professional person who works for a Fortune 100 company. Merrill, hey, hope things are going well and you're enjoying the weekend. Just wanted to give you a quick update. After 18 months at the company, I received a promotion last week. That was my #1 goal for 2012, and it happened just in time. Since you are a friend, mentor, supported, I want to share the progress with you. I'm always trying to learn, but this promotion felt great. I went 120% and will continue to do so. Thanks for all of your advice. All the best. And that's what you try to do. Now, have I given advice to 19 other people and maybe only a handful or two sent me an email? Yeah, the short answer is yes. And I'm okay with that. So I think you guys are going to be able to reach a lot of people in terms of patience, in terms of understanding. I think you can get, younger people don't really understand the political environment. I think that would be a third area that I would suggest you guys really go after, because every company has a political environment, and the problem is that generation doesn't really understand it. They don't want to understand it, and because of that, they won't be able to progress their career as quick as possible.
And to assess the political environment, you have to find somebody who's an insider who will be open with you so you don't make big mistakes, I guess.
Well, Bob, yes, that's a good point, but I think it's a little bit bigger than that. You can't gravitate to somebody who's going to give you all the answers. I think you've got to pay attention. You really got to get greyhound ears. You've got to really listen. You've got to check it out. You've got to see how the intricacies of a company work. You've got to see who's got the ear of the CEO. You've got to see what's the hot strategy. So I think it's a lot of things. And the problem with this generation is they just don't understand and don't want to understand the political environment. They get this misnomer that just because they understand technology that it's going to be successful. And the reality is, think about it this way in terms of neuroscience, okay? Neuroscience, is it cool? Yeah. Does it work? Yeah, to some extent. Why isn't more and more of it done? Okay? And here are the real reasons. Sorry, Michelle, I love you, buddy. Sorry. The real reasons are because it's very time consuming, it's very costly, it's very hard to understand. It's very hard to understand from a buyer standpoint, and it's very hard to understand from a seller standpoint. So all those 3 or 4 things, even if you discount most of them, happen to be true, and that gets in the way of selling NeuroFocus. And do I think it's ever going to erupt? I think it'll be more of a player down the road with research, but I don't think it's going to be a mainstay and be 80% of all of the research that we do.
I think it becomes important for us to understand how to connect with another person of your same sex or somebody who's from the opposite sex.
I totally agree with. I think what you guys are doing really can have a tremendous impact on young people, on the next generation. I think you can treat a lot of and teach a lot of some of the old timers like myself. And I think that you probably got to simplify it a little bit, because I think people are scared of that topic because they think it's really foreign to them. And I think that they can shut down pretty quickly. So I think my advice to you guys would be simplify it, and I don't want to say dummy it down because it's important, but I think you've got to really make it in layman terms so everybody can understand and not be scared of it, because I think that they get really nervous very quickly on that topic.